2011 Egyptian revolution took place following a popular uprising that began on the 25th of January. The uprising was mainly a campaign of non-violent civil resistance and activities against the confiscation of freedoms, human rights violations, corruption, martial law, election fraud, and others. Mubarak's 30-year reign made him the longest-serving president in Egypt's history. The call for demonstration began through the pages of the internet, particularly Facebook, where it has received a wide response from the Egyptians. Especially the new generation has the ability to use new media very efficiently and effective. On January the 25th, 2011, a new era began in Egypt, and also new era for new media and citizens. Facebook, YouTube and Twitter have become the new weapons of mass mobilization, a key of change and the first sparking for the revolutions across the Middle East. The new media, especially Facebook, have played a unique role in the revolution of Egypt. Rafiq, Vivian and the group of Egyptians who are residing in the UK initiated to create a page on Facebook named United Egyptians. This page has interested in support revolution in Egypt. Stay informed with the revolution news and communicate with the demonstrators. It was the most important page that covered the revolution on Facebook outside Egypt. It had a prominent role in support the Egyptian uprising in UK and apply pressure on the British government not to interfere in this magnificent movement. Rafiq, who is working in Manchester, Vivian in London, were responsible for handling media affairs for this page. Also responsible event coordinations, contacting media, and post news to the page fans.
We're here today in support of the protests that are happening now in Egypt, mainly in Tahrir Square, but this is happening all over the country. People are fed up with the dictatorship that we've had for over 30 years. My experience with Facebook is interesting. I think I'm a late comer to Facebook in general. I only started using Facebook, it must be maybe 2 years ago or a little longer than that, when it was becoming popular. And for me, it was more a nuisance than anything, and I just mainly used it to keep in touch with friends who were away somewhere. I've gained a whole new respect for social media after what's been happening in the world over the past 6 months or a little longer than that. And now I understand better how it can be used as a tool to communicate and bring people together.
It was unprecedented. We didn't expect anything like this. There were small demonstrations that became larger and lots more people moved to it. It began as a Twitter and Facebook community, although that's not the only reason for the revolution. But it began with that. We had a page called We're All Khalid Saeed that was made up with some prominent Egyptians. And on that, there was a lot of opposition towards the government. And they called for a strike on the 25th of January, which was a police holiday in Egypt. And people went to Tahrir Square. And no one was expecting more than 200, 300, 400 people, maybe 1,000. And what we saw were tens of thousands of people on the first day. So people got encouraged, more people came out. And this is how the revolution began.
The number of Facebook users in the Arab world has risen by 78% in 2010, according to a report published by the Emirati Dubai School of Government. Also, viewing rates of YouTube have risen for many clips and videos that are related to the Arab revolutions. Arab users of the social networking jumped from nearly 12 million in January last year to around 21 million by the end of 2010.
Rather than deceive the government, I think what the new media allowed people to do was to change things very quickly. So what happened on the day of the demonstrations, the first day, the 25th of January, is that there were points of meeting points where people were supposed to start their demonstrations, and obviously that's a very easy way. It makes it very easy for the security services to come in and disperse people. And new media allowed the organizers to change things very quickly and just before the demonstration started.
All news organizations in the Arab world are thinking now, as we speak, about how to deal with the new media, how to deal with social media, because of what happened recently. In the past, it wasn't really a big thing on the Arab media for more than one reason. First reason, because it's not controllable. The Arab media always worked in a controlled scene, even the free ones. The other thing is, it's not attributable or sourceable. And that is a problem all journalists around the world are struggling with, dealing with new media. And if you mean social media and things, if you mean new media like internet, having the technology, everybody's using the technology as technology, but using it as a source or as content, that's where the difference is.
I will never forget the day before and the day that he resigned. The day before, we heard that he was going to resign. He was giving a speech. So we were all very excited, and on Facebook there was so much activity. Everyone was saying, my heart's going to stop, the man is finally going to leave after 18 days of demonstrations and so on. And then we heard the speech, and he wasn't going anywhere. And the reaction while he was speaking, you could see it on Facebook straight away. The man's not leaving. I can't believe it, he's not going. And people were posting comments like this. So we all went to bed on Thursday very heavy. And then on Friday, I was actually out in the street. I was nowhere near Facebook. But I suddenly got a whole lot of text messages that said he had left. And suddenly we ran to a computer to double check that it was true. And all of the posts were of people saying, this is the happiest day of my life. I can't believe it.
Al Jazeera, which Mubarak tried to prevent it from covering the revolution, was able to follow events in Egypt moment by moment. Particularly, it's the only Arab channel that broadcasts in two languages, Arabic and English. It has played a strategic role in supporting the Arab revolutions, especially Egyptian.
Al Jazeera tried to count more on the journalists who happen to be available in the place when they are speaking to someone. But in the end, you have to take citizen journalists, people, witnesses, just to tell you what's happening. So we used the pictures, we took the news, and we even took the comment, and we took descriptions. So practically we did join full force. But this grew quickly during the revolution itself. It wasn't prepared in advance, but we did benefit. And in the end, Jazeera became very big as a result of covering the two revolutions in Egypt and Tunisia. But we did benefit a lot from the social media. Facebook comes within this, but it's just part of the whole thing. One of the biggest experiences was the story, if you remember, about the car, the embassy car, which was killing people by the loads on. It was really horrific. It was really difficult. It was a big decision to take. Was it really an embassy's car? Was it really? It came on Facebook. It was passed on the internet.
We started our activities before the 25th of January because at the time people were calling for demonstrations. None of us expected that it was going to be a revolution. We wanted to gather people in support of what might happen in Egypt. And at the time we used social media to gather people and basically to invite them to come to the demonstrations that we organized and things like this. Since then, we've had a complete change in the power structure in Egypt. And now what we've done is we're trying to develop ourselves on our role so that we have more of a building role, bringing together the Egyptians who live in the United Kingdom, so they have a say in what happens in Egypt, and so that people in Egypt have a voice in the United Kingdom. And this is how we're developing the role of United Egyptians now.
What my view is, there will be some connection between new media, as you describe it, social media, plus new media as mediums, plus content, which is provided by journalists originally. Now we are getting it from bloggers, we are getting it from citizen journalists. These three will meet somewhere. If you want my line, they will meet on the mobile, and the smartphones and the portable. Let us say, they will all meet on the portable devices. That's where they will meet, and that's where the new formation will happen. The big organizations that are living today, they will either have to join or disappear.
ضد الحكومة ضد الحكومة ضد الحكومة ضد ضد البلطجة والظلم، ضد الحكومة، ضد الحاكم والحكم، ضد الحكومة وحبل الظلم طويل، ضد الحكومة وعندي 1000 دليل. دمك مسيحينه، قتلك محللينه، وطنك مبهدلينه، دينك مستهدفينه، صوتك هم كاتبينه، حقك كمان واكلينه، واخوك لسه قاتلينه، باقي الشعب طالع عينه. لو عشت تعيشها فيا، لو مت مالكش دية، تتكلم تبقى ضحية، تتعامل بوحشية، سياسة بلطجية، شوية عصبجية، حكومة عدوانية عايزة تنهش فيك وفيا. الظالم والمظلوم، الحاكم والمحكوم، لمين بس هشكي وعلى مين انا هلوم؟ هلوم على الشعب اللي بياخد باوسخ جزمة ولسه ساكت، ولا على حكومة سايقاها وقلوبها ماتت؟ فلتسقط الحكومة، فليسقط النظام، فليسقط القانون، فليسقط الحكام، فليسقط الجبان، فليسقط اللي خان، فليسقط الطيب لو طبته هتخليه يتهان. انا ضد الحكومة، ضد البلطجة والظلم، ضد الحكومة، ضد الحاكم، ضد الحكم، ضد الحكومة، ضد الخاين والجبان، ضد الحكومة وضد اللي يقبل يتهان. انا ضد الحكومة، ضد البلطجة والظلم، ضد الحكومة، ضد الحاكم، ضد الحكم، ضد الحكومة، ضد الخاين والجبان، ضد الحكومة وضد اللي يقبل يتهان. كل من هب ودب دلوقتي عمال يهينك، مالكش قيمة مالكش تمن، حكامك اصلا بايعينك ومغفلينك، مستغفلينك، مستهيفينك، وفي احضان اعدائك بكل سهولة حاطينك، ماسكينك من ايدك اللي بتوجعك، حواليك 1000 افعى وفي مقتل عمالة تلدعك. مهما تتألم مفيش حد ناوي يسمعك، ما تساعد نفسك، ما تقولي وايه اللي يمنعك لو حد زقك، مستني مين يجيب لك حقك، ماسكك ودقك وبقاله 30 سنة بيدقك، عمال يسكك وانت ساكت ومخيط بقك، وبسيف وشقك ما انت ميت وموت مخك. كفاية نوم، كفاية